Hello everyone. In this session, we will learn about some fundamental properties of programs, how parallelism can be introduced in program. We will see about the granularity, partitioning of program, program flow mechanism, and compilation support of parallelism. Also, we will discuss about interconnection architecture, both static and dynamic. So, this is the lesson about program and network properties. I have segregated the videos into two parts, session 1 and session 2. And this is the session 1. In this session, we will learn about the half part of this lesson, that is condition of parallelism, data and resource dependency, hardware and software resource dependency. So let us start with these concepts. So basically the objectives about this lesson is the advantage of multiprocessor lays when parallelism in the program is popularly exploited and implemented using multiple processors. So thus, in order to implement the parallelism, we should understand the various conditions of parallelism. Now, what are various bottlenecks in implementing parallelism? Thus, for full implementation of parallelism, there are three significant areas to be understood, namely computation model of parallel computing, interprocess communication in parallel architecture, and system integration for incorporating parallel system. So thus multiprocessor system process a number of problems that are not encountered in sequential processing, like designing a parallel algorithm of an application. It can be partitioning of an application into tasks, or coordinating communication and synchronization. Also there can be a scheduling of the task onto the machine. So the conditions of parallelism, that is the ability to execute several program segment in parallel, required each segment to be independent of other segment. Remember that it is an ability to execute several program segments in parallel requires each segment to be independent of other segment. So every segment will be working or will be executing on its own, it is independent on the other segment, but it will be executing in parallel to each other. So we use a dependence graph to describe the relation. The nodes of a dependent graph correspond to the program statement. The program statement, we also call it as an instruction, and directed edge with different labels are used to represent ordered relationship among the statement. So the analysis of dependency graph shown here, opportunity exists for parallelism and vectorization. So as I said, the several program segments will be working in parallel, that is executing in a parallel of each segment to be independent of other segment. So the exploitation of parallelism has created a new dimension in computer science, and in order to move parallelism, there are three key areas, that is computation models for parallel computing, interprocess communication in parallel architecture, and system integration for incorporating parallel architecture. So these are the three key areas which are used or which are in process of parallelism. So basically a theoretical treatment of parallelism is thus needed to build a basis for above challenges. In practice, parallelism appears in various forms in computer environment. So all forms can be attributed to level of parallelism, computational granularity, time and space complexity, communication latencies, scheduling policies, and load balances. So very often trade-off exists among time, space, and performance cost factors. So now let us see what is data and resource dependency. Mostly the ability to execute several program segments in parallel require each segment to be independent of other segment, that is we have seen in an conditions of parallelism. So the independence comes in various forms as designed below. Like for simplicity to illustrate the idea, we consider the dependence relations among instructions in a program. So in general, each code segment may contain one or more statements. Now if suppose there are two statements, then each code will be having some multiple statements. So we use a dependence graph to describe the relationship. Now there is a part we called it as data dependency. Now let us see what is data dependence. So the ordering relationship between statement is indicated by data dependence. Remember, it is very important. The ordering relationship between statements is indicated by data dependence. So now let us see, there are 5 types of data dependence given below. The first is flow dependence, second is anti-dependence, third is output dependence, fourth is IO dependence, and fifth is unknown dependence. So these are the 5 types of data dependence. As I said, data dependence is an ordering relationship between statement is indicated by data dependence. So these 5 factors will be showing how the data will be dependent to each other. And for that purpose, we will be using a dependence graph to describe the relations. The nodes of dependence graph corresponding to the program statement and the directed edges with the different labels shows the ordered relationship among the statements. The analysis of data dependence graph shows where opportunity exists for parallelism. So the first is flow dependence. Now the flow dependence, let us take an example. Suppose there are two statements, statement 1 and statement 2. We will denote statement 1 as S1 and statement 2 as S2. So now let us see how flow dependency is or how it is executed. So as I said, there are two statements, S1 and S2. So a statement S2 is flow dependent on statement S1 if an execution path exists from S1 to S2, and if at least one output, that output we can call it as a variable assigned. So if at least one output of S1 feeds in an input, that is operands to be used to S2, then we will say it is a flow dependence. Remember that S2 is a flow dependent on statement S1 if an execution path exists from S1 and S2, and if at least one output of S1 feeds in as input to S2. So basically the output of S1 should feed as an input to S2. So this is the concept of flow dependency, and it is denoted as S1 tends to S2. Next factor is anti-dependence. Now here also consider two statements, statement 1 and statement 2, denoted as S1 and S2. So statement S2 is anti-dependent on statement S1 if S2 follows S1 in program order, and if the output of S2 overlaps the input of S1. In the flow dependent, what we have seen, that there should be at least one output of S1 feeds in an input to S2. So here it is opposite of in an anti-dependence, like S2 is anti-dependent on statement S1 if S2 follows S1 in program order, and if the output of S2 overlaps the input of S1. So the output of S2 which will be overlapping the input to S1, and it is denoted as a direct arrow crossed with a bar, as in S1 denotes S2 and dictates anti-dependence from S1 to S2. So these are the two factors we have seen till now. Third is output dependence. Now in output dependence, here also consider two statements, statement 1 and statement 2, denoted as S1 and S2. S1 for statement 1 and S2 for statement 2. So now let us see what is output dependency. So there are suppose two statements, and two statements are output dependent if they produce the same output variable. Now S1 and S2 are both an output dependent variable, and if they both produce the same output variable, then we will be calling as output dependence. Now both statement will be an output dependence. So the both statement should produce same output variable, that is a right operation. Next we have IO dependence. Now IO dependence stands for input output dependence. Now what is that we will see. So read and write are IO statements. In this case, read and write are input output statements. So input output dependence occurs not because the same variable is involved, but because the same file is referenced by both IO statements. Remember that in the flow dependence we have seen that S2 is flow dependent to S1 if at least one output of S1 feeds in an input to S2. In anti-dependence we have seen that there are two statements and S2 overlaps the input to S1. In output dependence we have seen that there should produce the same output variable, and in an IO dependence read and write of IO occurs because there are same variables is involved, but because the same file is referenced by both IO statement. So basically the file should reference the same input output statement, just not because there are dependency on same variable, but because the files reference are same for both IO statements. So this is an IO dependence. Now last but not least is unknown dependence. Now the dependence variable between two statements cannot be determined in some of the situations, like the subscript of variable is itself subscribed, the subscript does not contain loop index variable, a variable appears more than once with subscripts having different coefficient of loop variable, and the subscript is non-linear in loop index variable. So these are some situations in which dependency of relations between two statements cannot be determined. So these are the situations where we cannot determine the relationship of dependency. So these situations are like the subscript of variable is itself subscribed. So if this is the situation, then we cannot define any dependency relation. Another condition is the subscript does not contain the loop index variable. Now if such is the case, we cannot define any dependency. Next is a variable appears more than once with subscript having different coefficient of loop variable. In that case also we cannot define any dependency relationship between two statements. And last is the subscript is non-linear in loop index variable, then also we cannot define any dependency relationship between two statements. So when one or more of this condition exists, a conservative assumption to claim unknown dependency among statements involved. Next we will see hardware and software parallelism. Now in hardware and software parallelism, let us see the conditions of parallelism first. Now these are the two types of parallelism, that is hardware parallelism and software parallelism. Now let us see first what is hardware parallelism. Now in hardware parallelism, for implementation of parallelism we will be requiring hardware and software support. So in this section we address the support issue. Now first we distinguish between hardware and software parallelism. The mismatch problem between hardware and software is discussed. Then we describe the fundamental concept of compilation support needed to close the gap between hardware and software parallelism. So now first we will see hardware parallelism. This refers to the type of parallelism defined by the machine architecture and hardware multiplicity. So hardware parallelism is often a function of cost and performance trade-off. It displays the resource utilization pattern of simultaneously executable operations. It can also indicate the peak performance of processor resource. So hardware parallelism is defined by machine architecture and that is hardware multiplicity, that is functional parallelism times. It can be characterized by the number of instructions that can be issued per machine cycle. If a processor issues k instructions per machine cycle, it is called as k issue processor, and conventional processor are one issue machine. So on way to characterize the parallelism in process is by the number of instructions issued per machine cycle. So a conventional pipelined processor takes one machine cycle to issue a single instruction. So these types of processor are called as one issue machine with a single instructions pipeline in the processor, and in modern processor two or more instructions can be issued per machine cycle. For example, we have an Intel i960CA was having 3 issue processor with one arithmetic, one memory access and one branch instruction issued per cycle. So this is what the hardware parallelism is. Now let us see what is software parallelism. In software parallelism, basically these types of parallelism is revealed in program profile or in a program flow graph. Software parallelism is a function of algorithm, programming style, and programming design. The program flow graph displays the pattern of simultaneously executable operations. So in software parallelism, it is defined by the control and data dependency of a program. As we have seen, there are 5 data dependency factors, like data dependency factors such as flow dependency, anti dependency, output dependency, input output dependency, and unknown dependency. So the software parallelism is defined by the control and data dependence of programs and is revealed in the program's flow graph. That is, it is defined by dependencies within the code and in function of algorithm, programming style, and compiler optimization. So this is the difference between hardware and software parallelism. So basically, like the details of special hardware functions and software support for parallelism will be treated as different functionalities, and the key ideas being conveyed in that parallelism cannot be achieved here. So in both cases, hardware and software parallelism, there is a mismatch problem between hardware and software, and that can be described very closely to bridge the gap between hardware and software parallelism. Like I said, we have seen in an hardware parallelism there is only one issue machine. Like we seen that if the conventional pipeline processor takes one machine cycle to issue a single instruction, these types of processors are called as one issue machine. Like nowadays we have Intel processor, like we have IBM RISC or System 600. Like Intel has 3 issue processors, whereas RISC IBM has 4 issue processors capable of issuing one arithmetic, one memory access, one floating point, and one branch operation per cycle. So here we have multiple 3 issue processors, like 4 issue processors. There is no need of any one issue machine. But when we are considering an hardware parallelism, we will consider multiple processors into a context. And in a software parallelism, we will see about data dependency functionalities in algorithm, programming style, and program design. So the program flow graph displays the pattern of simultaneously executable operations. There will be a graph which will show the program display the graph, the patterns, and simultaneously executable operations. So in both the cases, we can use a dependency graph to identify the problem. So this is the part of hardware and software parallelism. In this session, we had learned about what are the conditions of parallelism. We have already seen some data dependency factors. We've seen how conditions of parallelisms are, what are the key areas. We've seen about data and resource dependency, the 5 factors of data dependency, flow dependency, input output dependency, anti dependency, and unknown dependency. We've seen how the hardware and software parallelism works, what is hardware parallelism, what are the examples of hardware parallelism, and what is software parallelism, and how the graph is used in software parallelism. In this session, we have seen some glimpse of the concept of parallelism. In the next session, we will see in details about latency, grain size, brainstorm conditions, and the other parts like program partitioning and scheduling. So watch my next session on the YouTube. Thank you.